What is pain? Important question. One definition of pain, we can define pain as unpleasant sensation. Just getting really, really specific and clear. Pain is unpleasant sensation. Now, of course, that pain of unpleasant sensation can manifest in different ways. It's not just physical. Pain can be mental. Pain can be emotional. Pain can also be spiritual. In medicine, sometimes they talk about a condition called total pain, where we are experiencing pain on all levels of our human life: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Now, we can distinguish between the experience of pain, unpleasant sensation, and suffering. Suffering being the response to pain. So suffering arises when we resist pain, when we contract in reaction to pain. So suffering is about how we relate to the pain. The pain is, we could say, inevitable. It's part of being human. Right? We all experience unpleasant things, unpleasant thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations. It's just how we're wired. What we do with those sensations is up to us. So for those who are interested in, I'm going to take down the slide for a moment. For those who are interested in or who have studied Buddhism at all, which as we know is the kind of roots and origin of modern day secular mindfulness, even though mindfulness is not unique to the Buddhist tradition, many of the practices and frameworks that inform mindfulness practice are rooted in early Buddhism. There's a teaching in the classical Buddhist texts about pain. And I wanted to share it with you because it really provides a very useful analogy for understanding this relationship between suffering and pain, our reactivity to the unpleasantness that is inherent in life. So in this particular story, the Buddha's talking with some of his disciples, and he asks, what's the difference between people who have practiced and understood my teachings and those who haven't? He said, we don't know, tell us. So he goes on, of course, to answer his own question. He says, well, everyone in life experiences unpleasant things. That's like being shot with a dart or an arrow. Everyone gets shot with the first arrow or first dart. I'm seeing heads nod. Many of you are familiar with this story. He says, the difference is someone who doesn't understand the mechanisms of suffering in human existence. When they experience that first dart or arrow of unpleasantness, they add a second arrow on top of it by reacting. Why is this happening to me? Whose fault is it? Why does this always happen to me? When is it going to end? It's my fault. It shouldn't have happened. And on top of a physically unpleasant sensation, they add a mental and emotional unpleasant experience through the reaction. He said those who have studied and practiced these teachings and understood the mechanism of suffering and how it's released experience unpleasant sensation and it stops there. They don't react to it because they understand it's part of the nature of life, it's not personal, and it'll change. And so they don't add anything extra on top of it. They don't resist, they don't react, they don't take it personally. They just experience the unpleasantness and allow it to go on its way. So some studies on chronic pain have shown that a high percentage, perhaps some of you on the call even know the percentage. It's above 70%. It might even be 80 or 90% of the pain that chronic pain patients experience is not the initial original sensation. It's the reactivity to it. It's everything else that we add on top of it, which is not just mental or emotional. It's also physical and physiological. It's the stress we experience. It's the muscular contraction that we experience around the pain, bracing ourselves against it, trying to avoid it. So beginning to have a felt understanding of the difference between unpleasant sensation and everything that comes after it in the mind and body is essential for not only freeing ourselves from the suffering and entanglement of pain, but being able to support others. We must have a really clear, direct experience of how the mind and body interact and what our conditioning is in relation to unpleasantness, to be able to have compassion for others, to understand how their mind is functioning, and to very gently, consistently, and confidently guide them through the process of understanding the chain of events in their own mind and body.